You're listening to TurkishSoccer.com's Turkish Football Podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Bob Turgut. Just a heads up, I know those of you who are hooked on this Turkish Football Podcast listens to my podcast every weekend. I thank you for following and response, but at the end of the first weekend in the Turkish Super League, I did not feel good. I was under the weather a little bit, did not have a podcast, so I will try to recap everything from week 1 to week 2 and review the week 3, also European competition matches coming up in this podcast. But I just want to give you another news in this Turkish Football podcast. We'll do extra format and we'll do interviews with friends around the world. Anyone wants to Turkish football, where you're welcome to do that. We'll start this with next week, the interviews with Turkish football fans, this Turkish Football Podcast. So stay tuned for that. Well, let me try to recap what happened in the last weekends in the Turkish Super League. First of all that hoopla, big transfers still going on. Big teams like Galatasaray, Fenerbahçe, and Beşiktaş are not done with transfers. They haven't been complete team yet. Meanwhile, Galatasaray played both of their matches in the league, but it was the starting weekend was this past weekend for Beşiktaş and Fenerbahçe. We'll talk about the details of these matches. Last 2 weekends, in the week 1, I'll tell you, it was only 18 goals scored in the week 1. And week 1 started, as you know, with the Gaziantep Galatasaray match. And Gaziantep 3-0. And after that, Konya Spor won. And out of those 9 matches, 6 of them played and postponed, only 18 goals. And week 2, again, same thing. You had 3 matches was postponed and 14 goals scored. The lowest goal scoring is happening in the Turkish Super League. We're going to talk about that, and we'll also talk about the European competition matches coming up for Fenerbahçe, Samsunspor, Beşiktaş, and Başakşehir, starting on. But we'll also give you information on what's happening as we speak. Looking at week 2, you have 5 teams with 6 points. Surprisingly, Konya Spor, who has 6 points, score more goals, is on top of the Turkish Super League at the end of week 2. Galatasaray with 6 points, Altay Samsunspor with 6 points, Trabzonspor with 6 points. 4 points in the 6th place. Beşiktaş, who played their first match in the Turkish Super League, we're going to talk about that match, is in 7th place with 3 points. Başakşehir there are 5 teams with 1 point, 6 teams with 0 points in the Turkish Super League at the end of Turkish Super League. In that bracket with 1 point, Fenerbahçe is in 11th place with 1 point. Fenerbahçe just played their first match in the Turkish Super League this past weekend. They did not have a match in the week 1, just like Beşiktaş in the Turkish Super League. Because all this happening because of the European competition. One thing though, Fenerbahçe will play their third weekend matches, week 3 matches, but Beşiktaş, Samsunspor, and Başakşehir will not play their third weekend matches. Fenerbahçe is in the playoffs for the Champions League. Their first match coming up tomorrow in Istanbul against Benfica. And there's a lot of talks about Kerem Aktürkoğlu might transfer to Fenerbahçe. I think that will happen after Benfica match. This is a very important match for. On Thursday, you have matches for the Europa League, the team that represents Turkiye. This will be their first European competition for Samsunspor. They will travel to Greece to face Panathinaikos. On also Thursday, Conference League, there are 2 teams that represents Turkiye in the Conference League. Başakşehir will be at home against Craiova, Romanian team, and Beşiktaş will travel to Switzerland, Lausanne. And looking at, I think, pretty much these teams, there are actually 3 teams along with Samsunspor in European League, and Başakşehir and Beşiktaş in Conference League. They are in the playoffs. It's 2-leg match. If they go through, they will be in the Conference League. If they don't, they will say goodbye to Europe. And same case with Samsunspor. If they go through in the playoffs, they will play in the Europe. If they don't, they will drop down to Conference League. Fenerbahçe also in the playoffs for Champions League. If they in 2 matches, they will represent Turkey in the Turkish Super League and European. So it's very important matches for Turkish teams in the European competitions. As far as the transfers, I talked about that. Nene Aktürkoğlu on the way. Still looking for the goalkeeper and defender. Looks like it will happen. They have a couple players working for them. Beşiktaş, they signed a young player from Schalke, Taylan Bulut, and Didi from Leicester City. And also, quick 2 notes: Turkish national team goalkeeper Berke Ozer signed with LILLE. Played in his first match. They scored 3 goals in the match ended 3. Altay Bayındır, another Turkish national team goalkeeper at London. From the pick, he got scored on, and he plays for Manchester United. Things not good for Altay Bayındır with the Manchester United team. We could say that right now. Remember, overall, I'm going to talk about the general football is playing in the Turkish Super League. What we saw in boring. All these high transfers with Galatasaray, Beşiktaş, Fenerbahçe, even Trabzonspor. Just we watched Trabzonspor this past Monday night against Kasımpaşa in Istanbul. The whole first 45 minutes, neither Kasımpaşa and Trabzonspor had a shot on goal. Trabzonspor won this, but it's just not seeing football we want to see. All these big pace to the soccer players coming to Turkey and playing in the Turkish Super League. Looking at these games, it's awful. Fenerbahçe played a match this past weekend in the Turkish Super League. And guess Izmir, Göztepe, one of the toughest teams in the Turkish Super League, with a very small budget compared to Fenerbahçe, Galatasaray, Beşiktaş, and Trabzonspor. We could not recognize Fenerbahçe how they played. Forget that. Göztepe team was almost like 70 minutes with 10 men. At the very end of seconds of the match, in extra time, Talisca, who came in as a sub, missed the PK. That's because he hit from the goalkeeper. He had another chance to kick that ball into the net. He couldn't do it. Beşiktaş, what can we say? Playing at home against Eyüp, one of the teams that does not have a stadium and a fan base. Just like Başakşehir has stadium but no fan base. We have few teams like this. They were at home. Luckily, the best midfield player in the Turkish Super Lig, Rafa Silva, after missing any chance at the end, Rafa Silva saved Beşiktaş this past weekend. Want to talk about the Eyüp new goalkeeper, Marcos Felipe. After Berke Ozer went to Lille, they have gotten this Brazilian goalkeeper, Marcos Felipe. I think he is the player of the weekend, if you ask me, this past weekend, in the week 2. Galatasaray, with the starters, first time ever. They did not play in the week 1, week 2. Osimhen came in, played 30 minutes. Icardi, after 9 months, came in last 10 minutes with a given goal, given pass by one of his teammates. He scored his first goal after 9 months for Galatasaray. So Galatasaray has up front, as I've been saying this, Osimhen, Icardi, and Sane did not look good. So with this lineup, they still missing defender and goalkeeper, even though United match played very good match. But I'm talking about the Champions League. If Galatasaray wants to do good in the Champions League, not like last season, they need to get better defender and better goalkeeper, because that's a whole different competition level that we're talking about. So, Konyaspor, the Cinderella of this year, I guess, they're on top. Congratulations to them. But a lot of these teams, the Konya team, aren't very good after 6-7 weekends, and they go down to other brackets. So it's tough. But I think one thing with Galatasaray, with these transfers, playing in the Turkish Super League, should not have any problems. They're in a different league with this kind of players that they have. We saw that pretty much against in the week 1 and week 2, all the year Anatolia. So I'm back. Thanks for listening to Turkish Football Podcast. Listen to my podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and remember, we'll have extra format with interviews with the Turkish football fans.